Now, Neville wants to spend a couple minutes just to tell us something that we can help with the college. And so we give him a few minutes to tell us about the plans for the college.
So what I'll do is I'll forget the protocol for a while and give you some international benchmarks. Last year, our group at the University of the West Indies celebrated our 50th anniversary. And we decided that instead of us having a good time, we would give a legacy contribution. And last week, from our festivities, we added the university a check for $1.5 million. Now I say that to give you something to work towards. So those people reading the magazine, please take a note of that. That's the minimum figure that you really should be having in mind.
Say it again. 1.5?
1.5 million. And our group was smaller than yours. All right, I'll be very quick because Virtual asked me permission to publish in your magazine what I call is 7 building blocks of establishing and cementing the university college and moving it towards university status. The first building block you'll see in your magazine is accreditation. And just a couple words on that. Accreditation is of critical importance for any institution in the modern era. We're happy to report, as you see in the magazine, that all of Mico's programs have been accredited by the University Council of Jamaica, which is the official body that accredits programs. So you can give your college a round of applause for that. What we have done so far is called program evaluation. What is more important is institutional accreditation. Because when you get that, they don't come to visit you for at least 5 years. I'm pleased to report that Mico, having had all its programs accredited, is now in the process of working towards full institutional accreditation. 2 weeks ago I met with the minister, and through the contribution, I remember I said this on Sunday, through the contribution of one of the persons that was there with you, Jeremy Palmer, we have put together the Mico University bill. So we didn't go to the minister and with a discussion, we took a bill to him. And as we speak, they're reviewing it. The next step should be a cabinet submission. And following that, the bill will be laid in Parliament. And then just like the Mico University College, it will be an act of Parliament and then it will be a full university. Our estimated date for that is September 2019. The second important thing we're working on is research, innovation, and publications. What separates colleges from universities is the strength of their research, innovation, and publication program. So far, we have set up an institute called the Institute for Technical and Educational Research, ITER. And so that's the platform for which we'll build. The third area we're focusing on is to set up our faculties, our schools, and our special centers. One very important center we have is the Care Center, which is the only center of its kind in the English-speaking Caribbean, which deals with diagnostic and therapeutic services for children. 2 weeks ago, we indicated to the minister that we wanted to add a special area to that, which is speech therapy. So any of you who are specialists in that area or new specialists in that area, we'll be happy to speak with you on that. Another very important area we're working on is infrastructure development. And we are tackling that from 2 points of view. One is information and communication technology infrastructure. And that's where the smart classrooms come in. What we envisage is that we want to convert 15 of our classrooms into smart rooms. We also want to establish a STEM Learning, Research and Innovation Center. The STEM Center costs 101 million Jamaican dollars. The smart room which you're looking at as your legacy project, the rough cost of what we would expect you to contribute is 35,000 US dollars. So you can bear that figure in mind as you start to look at it. It will be very nice because the first room has been named after a graduate because their children, Mr. Robinson, his son is a high court judge in The Hague, a Jamaican who is an international judge. And he, together with his family, contributed to putting up the first smart classroom at Mico, and it's named after his father. The moral of that story is, some of you might not have money, but your children do. And if they don't, the companies they work for do. So one of the drives we're doing right now is not only to involve graduates, but children of graduates. So that's something you might want to think about as you try to put together what you're going to contribute to the institution. We spoke about infrastructure development. You saw the gate in construction when you came there on Sunday. We're going to be looking at some other infrastructure development. We want to put a floor on top of the Bonham Carter cafeteria. That will be an auditorium, and we'll have space for the visual and performing arts. So when you come there, you can see a play, you can hear classical or Jamaican music on top of the Bonham Carter. The foundation, which Mr. Duane is the new secretary manager, they're working on that. And there are other projects like that, sports facilities, all kinds of things like that. I told you on Sunday about the well, all that is on stream. The next thing we're working on is internationalizing our programs. So we want to link up with universities of renown overseas. And so, those of you who have connections with universities, whether it's in Canada, US, the UK, or anywhere else in the world, please tell us about it. Lastly, I just want to give you an idea that scholarships is not at the price that they used to be. It now costs, a full scholarship costs roughly 4,400 US dollars. So if you're thinking of a scholarship on behalf of this group, that's a figure you need to think of. If you're given a full tuition scholarship, it's about 3,000 US dollars. You also have the option of giving things like book grants and bursaries, and they're at lower figures. Or to give a boarding grant. But I keep the first two in mind. The full scholarship and the full tuition scholarship. I'll be around if you have questions, but before I leave, I think I should also share my story. In my first year, I thought I was going to be a lawyer. Why do I say that? Because at that time, we didn't have enough women at Mico, so we had to link up with women at Shortwood. So we had a party, and the second years were very envious because our batch had the best looking girls of all time. And they stood on the balcony by the Buxton Tower and watched those girls pass, and they salivated. So when the party was finished, the few ladies that were at Mico were complaining. So we decided, okay, we'll have a party for them. So we spent an extra hour. The result of that was that we came back late. Now, you know, lights out at that time was 10:30 on a Saturday night. Your children and grandchildren are getting ready to go to a party at 10:30 in the night. So, of course, the second year men greeted us on the step, and we were swarmed to the principal on Monday morning. And the chief ringleaders were, of course, myself and my two roommates. So we're called to the red carpet with Mr. Owen. By the way, I started out with Mr. Newman and then transitioned to Mr. Owen. And he said, "Gentlemen, knew what time you were supposed to come back to college. Is that right? I said, yes, sir. Why is it that you came back 1 hour after lights out? I said, would you like to hear? I said, well, sir, we were entertaining the ladies from Shortwood. And when the party was over, just like you taught us to be gentlemen at Mico, we walked them very slowly through the back gate to Crossroads, and like good gentlemen, we waited until they all took the bus and were safely off, and then we ran back to the college. And he said, very good gentlemen. And we got away. Thank you.